We fought through the fourth quarter. We fought. We fought. We clawed back. We clawed back. I thought we were going to be able to get him in overtime. And honestly, more than anything, shout out to our fans. Fans were amazing. They're a huge reason of why we were able to get back in this game. But yeah, it was definitely nice to see some go in. Wish it would have helped us get a W a little bit more. Caitlin Clark dropped 32 points, 7 threes, and 8 assists last night, and the Indiana Fever still lost. Not because she failed, not because the Mystics were just better, but because Stephanie White pulled Clark during the hottest stretch of her game, then had her inbound the ball in the final seconds of overtime instead of letting the best shooter on the floor take the shot. A 58-point paint differential and getting out-rebounded 44-29, back-to-back home losses, and a front office that spent the offseason ignoring the one problem everyone could see coming. We're breaking down the coaching malpractice that led to Caitlin Clark's MVP game against the Washington Mystics being ruined. Comment down below what you think needs to change, because this roster has real talent and right now it's getting wasted on losses. Caitlin Clark had no business being on the wrong side of it. It's great, but I don't really care cause we lost. The first quarter of this game looked genuinely good. Indiana came out moving the ball. Clark was finding open looks from deep and every single starter scored early on. 6 of 7 from 3 in the first 7 minutes. The Fever pushed out to a 13-point lead and Washington looked uncomfortable, which is exactly what Indiana needs against a team that wants to slow things down and pound the paint. So, when it's working, you need to keep your foot on the gas. Billings, another offensive rebound. She's been really acting. Clark backing up and dropping a 3, putting on the moves. Amar sticks with her. Clark bullseye. Then the second quarter started and Washington went on a 25-7 run. Not a slow bleed where you look up and realize the lead's gone. A full collapse that happened so fast Indiana barely got a timeout in before Washington flipped the whole game and went up by double digits. The Fever went from a team that looked like it was going to win comfortably to a team that was chasing the score before halftime even arrived. And that shift is worth really sitting with because it didn't happen by accident. And that kind of night after the first quarter for Indiana she goes. Blood in the water. 0. The Mystics have gone up double digit. Washington didn't suddenly start raining threes. They attacked the paint, drew fouls, and got to the free throw line over and over while the Indiana's half-court defense turned into a foul festival that killed the Fever's transition pace completely. The game slowed down to Washington's tempo. And the Fever had no answer for it because they weren't built to handle what Washington started throwing at them once the first unit got off the floor. She felt like they were over-dribbling. They need to be a little bit more mindful of where their shooters are. And also defensively, Steph has been saying it all game. Drives by Mark and hangs and finishes. 3 accounts here today. Austin now 5 of 6 from the line as Katrin pulls down the offensive rebound. Ian going right back to work. Kiki Irifan and Shakira Austin were catching the ball in deep post position on almost every half-court set and the backup front court pieces Indiana threw at them couldn't hold ground. Aaliyah Boston is legitimately one of the best two-way players in the league, but she's one person and the drop-off behind her on this roster is steep enough that the moment Washington targeted the second unit, the paint opened up like a highway. Stephanie White kept running bench combinations that looked reasonable in theory but couldn't physically stop what Washington was doing down low. Ari on Billings fin spins, fires, and the bank shot goes down themselves. Players just kind of collide off of them. I'm not sure if that's what happened there or not. Asafin strokes a 3. Drives on Citron. Clark up and under. Blocked by Iran. Clark was still on the floor for parts of that run, working to get the offense going, but it didn't matter because Washington was converting at such a high rate in the paint that Indiana's perimeter scoring couldn't keep pace with those kinds of easy looks. We have not seen a Boston here in a little bit. Clark thought about the 3. Circles around, fires away, and hits. Will it be Mitchell? Will it be Clark? Cunningham looking. Versatine Allen hand off Clark for the tie. Yes. Caitlin Clark has tied the game with under 2 seconds left to play. The 13-point lead actually made this worse, not better, because Indiana didn't come out flat and let the game get away from them slowly. The Fever built something real in that first quarter. 6 of 7 from 3, every starter contributing. Washington on their heels and then watched all of it disappear in about 8 minutes because the defensive structure behind Boston couldn't hold when Washington decided to test it directly. Now, before you put all of this on Stephanie White, and there's plenty to put on her, you have to look at what she was actually working with, because the roster Indiana's front office built going into 2026 had a hole in the front court that anybody paying attention could see coming, and nobody did anything about it. Monique, they had 58 points in the paint, started overtime, Washington scoring down there over and over again. What did you feel like were the struggles you guys had protecting the cup tonight? Just executing our coverages at times. Our communication wasn't always there, and again, they just made really tough shots. Sometimes our bodies there, and they just made really tough shots. Great players in the post. Aaliyah Boston is genuinely one of the best front court players in the WNBA. She can guard post players. She rebounds. She runs the pick and roll with Clark better than anyone else on this team. And when she's healthy and on the floor, Indiana's defensive picture looks completely different from what it looked like in that second quarter collapse. Boston is the reason the Fever can even compete against post-heavy teams like Washington. So when she left in the third quarter with a lower leg injury, the whole defensive structure of the team walked off the floor with her. And it's worth noting she was already on a minutes restriction, only playing 21 minutes before she went out, which means she probably wasn't fully healthy before the game even tipped off. So Washington's post players were already testing a front court that was running thin. And the moment Boston sat down, those looks got even cleaner. Monique Billings and Myisha Hines-Allen stepped up and put in real minutes trying to cover the gap. And you can't blame either of them for not being Boston. But the front office's job was to make sure that gap wasn't so wide that one injury flipped the entire defensive math of the game. I mean, we're getting great looks. We still shot 40% from the field, but we miss way too many bunnies around the rim. We talked about it at halftime. Probably should have talked about it after the game, but should never shoot 39% from the field and 40% from 3. At the end of the day, it's going to be really hard to win basketball games. But we still scored 102 points, so it all comes back to our defense and the way we're able to defend. But hey, we fought through the fourth quarter. We fought, we clawed back. The free agency decisions this past offseason left Indiana without a real second